everybody, and welcome. I think the clock is 12 now, so we will start.
Yes.
Welcome to this webinar regarding running AR in Younium. My name is Eric. This is Maria, and we will talk a little bit about how you can benefit from running AR in Younium, and also some best practice that we hope will open your eyes to what you can achieve with running the AR in Younium. The webinar will be around 30 minutes long. We are recording it, so we will also send out that recording afterwards. And then we have a chat, so if you have any questions, you can just type them in there, and Linda will gather them, and we'll send out answers to that after the webinar as well, and also send out this presentation that we're showing right now. Mm-hmm. So let's get started.
Yeah. So we're going to start talking about the overall AR process that we do have in Younium today, and the three major parts of running AR as we see it is the delivery process, collecting payments, and the dunning process. Starting with invoice delivery. By delivery, we mean the process of sending invoices out. Not more complex than that. As many as you on this call know, it's common to use several invoice and delivery methods depending on what your customers' needs and wants. So Younium supports a variety of ways of delivering an invoice. But maybe what we want to talk about more today is what we learned over time, how this process is usually unnecessary manually handled. So what we can see today is you add all this detailed customer information into Younium, right? Some of you, have automatic setups, feed your customer data directly from your sales or CS team. So usually this data is really good. So at this point, when you got all the information in, you want to or need to send the invoices out. So we will recommend to make this an automated process and let the system select the best invoice delivery method for your customers. So put aside following up with error logs, so like being forced to credit and resend invoices to get the correct invoice delivery method, and let the system do the rest. Also want to highlight here that Younium has an automated handling for US sales tax. So you can use it when you invoice from your Inc. environment if you have one, or maybe thinking about having one. So moving over to collect payments process, we have over time seen a great need here for optimization. Today, Younium supports a variety of payment imports to automate your handling of collecting the payments. But getting more like an ERP system, Younium also supports open banking and bank integrations to collect your payments directly from your selected bank account or accounts. What we see here would be the best practice to import payments from several, if you want, different bank accounts on a regular basis with an automated job set up in Younium. So the idea is that when you get into work in the morning, you can start matching the payments directly. Also want to highlight that we support credit card and debit, direct debit payments. This is getting more popular for what we see when looking at our at least our existing customer base, where we see a growing need for self-service workflows from your platforms too. The last part. Yeah, the last part is the dunning process. We will dive into further details regarding this area and what Younium supports, but we support a fully automated reminder handling for overdue invoices. But you need to decide who, with what information, and when reminders need to be sent out. So yeah, these are the three parts, but I also want to mention that when you post invoices and payments, if you don't work with the accounts receivable in Younium today, Younium works like that. The Younium register the financial transactions in three, what we call them in Younium journals. Maybe you've seen that in the head menu. One is for invoicing, one for payments, and one is for the accruals. So you can export these journals and import them into your financial system for bookkeeping. Some of our financial connectors supports automatic exporting of the journals, but you can extract these journals and import them to whichever like ERP or financial system that you use. But with that said, we get a lot of questions regarding collective payments and credit cards, and also direct debit payments. So we're gonna zoom into that a little bit.
Yeah. So first of all, let's start with like a poll. How many of you in this webinar are thinking or are like planning to implement either credit card or direct debit payment for your end customers? Please vote so we can ask.
Doesn't really matter which, what you've been looking at, just, have you been looking at this? And we're gonna also in a moment then share the results for if you just vote here in the pop-up that you hopefully see on your screen.
Yes, I think we're seeing because we're seeing some results. And
okay.
That's super good. And looking at that, it's quite evenly here, I would say. But more and more people are thinking about it. And we want to zoom in a little bit here because talking about this it sounds complex, but let's zoom in and hopefully people you say who voted no, maybe we'll rethink this after this webinar. We'll see. So let's talk a little bit about how this works in Younium then. So credit card and direct debit payments. We use Stripe as a partner to handle the credit card or direct debit payments. So basically, you can do this in two ways in Younium, how you will collect these payments. And we can start off with what I would say is the easiest way of getting started with direct debit or credit card payment. So basically, that is what we call pay with link. And this doesn't affect your if you're not using credit cards today, this doesn't affect your invoice flow or AR processing in any way. The only thing that is what you're doing here is actually giving the customer the option to pay a specific invoice either by credit card or direct debit, depending on which country and currency you're invoicing in, of course. But more or less, this adds a link to the invoice, as you can see down there, that the customer receives. And they can click that, and then they will be sent to Stripe, where they will pick up fill out their credit card information. So, or they can pay like a regular invoice as well. So basically, this is where the customer will come after they click this link, and they can fill out their information. This is then needed to be. They need to do this for like each invoice. So, for example, if you have I guess all of you have recurring invoicing. So basically, if you are monthly, they will need to do this for each invoice going out, or they can do it for one invoice, and the next invoice they can pay by bank transfer if they would like to. And this is a good way of offering your customers the chance to pay with credit card or direct debit. You don't really need to do anything from your perspective. It's pretty easy to get going in that sense. The other way of doing this is of course setting up a recurring credit card payment, meaning that in some way we need to collect the payment details from your customers. This can be done either by like some self-service online sales store that you develop, or in Younium we have a way of sending out like a collective email that the customer will need to fill out, and that will collect the payment details into Younium. But when you have those payment details from your customers, meaning the credit card or direct debit account, you can actually set it up on the order level that this order should be charged then on like with a Stripe method. So basically, that means you create the invoice as normal in Younium, but when you post them, Younium automatically collect the payment by the way that the customer has set up. And we will book it automatically as well. And we will also handle the payout from Stripe, because the payment will be booked straight away. That goes instantly. But you will not receive the money in your bank account. I think it's around 7 days or something like that when Stripe actually pays out the money to your bank. But that is also taken care of automatically in Younium. So by doing this, you will have a recurring way of collecting payments by direct debit or credit card with your customers. And why is this good? I would say this is a huge impact of course of cash flow. Say this will take 7 days, depending on like a normal invoice flow where you maybe have like 15 days payment term, or even up to like 45 or 30 days. It's a huge difference from a cash flow perspective in running this. So this is a little bit about Stripe and how it works on a higher level. But I think we are seeing more and more information regarding this, and also like for self-service, as Maria mentioned as well. How can you implement this, and how can you make the customer do more themselves, basically. So this is a little bit of how the Stripe integration or the credit card functionality works in Younium. And the other thing that I think we should talk about, as we see is super important, is what we call the 360 view, and Maria will talk a little bit more about that regarding now.
Yeah, easy to get started with Stripe, and also the 360 view, the bigger view that we want to mention or like point out. We're working with AR, which is one of the major benefits of running your accounts receivable in Younium, because you have also your order data in Younium. The idea is to be able to share information, like share information both within your organization, but also being able to share it with your end customer if you want to. Like use Younium to do more. Like for example, do commission-based salary reports, other reports, and view them or like share them within your organization. Because you have that up-to-date invoice status connected to your contracts, all in the same place. So want to highlight that. But then with Younium as your AR tool, you're able to share like both the subscription info, but also your invoices and its status, like both with the connected CRM, you can see on the left, to your sales team, success management team, but also via our open API to your own subscription platform and to your end customers, what we here call like your app or like your SaaS service that you provide. So we support CRM systems like Salesforce, D365, and HubSpot. So when looking at HubSpot, we're gonna zoom into a little bit here. What we've done is to display the invoice data in a widget on each like company, which is like the account that in HubSpot. So we're gonna show. So this is a picture from our HubSpot test page. So yeah, sorry to announce that Apple is not our client yet, but at least what we see here is the invoice number for the invoice to Apple and a link directly into Younium, so you don't have to log in to go in and search for it, invoice date and so far, and to the far right, the invoice status in real time. And I guess like that is the most important part over there. So this functionality, this widgets, this works the same in all Younium CRM integrations, but it can vary a bit of the layout and a little bit of what is included depending on the specific widget. But this is the idea, to view it from Younium to also your sales reps in your CRM system. So yeah, we also see a growing wish or need to display the invoicing status to your end customers. In our initiative to focus more on self-service, we have made a self-service widget that you can easily embed in your SaaS platform. So I'm going to show you this picture. So this is the kind of data and how it would look in a self-service widget on in your own platform, or like how it could look, like the design and everything, but the information would be approximately this. They can download it themselves, they can view it, and you can have an open dialogue or like be transparent with your end customers about their invoicing status.
And if you're using a credit card or direct debit integration as well, they could even pay the invoice if they want to in your platform as well.
We see this like as a like great tool of sharing the information. And also then why is it important? So moving into that, why we started like looking at this or starting talking about this is because a common pain when talking to you customers is that we see that you spend a lot of time answering questions of the invoice status and so on, from the sales rep to the finance team. Sometimes because of provisioning that will be available when the invoice have a specific status, maybe when it's paid or when it's posted. We also see a lot of questions coming to the finance team from the end customer about their outstanding invoices. Often when you've made some changes, it's a complex order, and that's obviously why you work with Younium, because you are able to have those complex order and do all of these changes and invoice them out. But this creates like a transparency, as I said before, also to like cut the workload from the internal communication. But also something I want to highlight is to be able to analyze the risk in one and the same place and take action in time. I think something that we can all agree on is that a customer that's not paying on time could be an first indicator of churn. So like the idea is to work smarter with your AR, cut corners, and use the system support. Yeah. So that moves us over to the next area that we want to talk about.
Yes, the dunning process, and how we see this and what we think is best practice, how to set it up with the support from the Younium platform to handle the dunning process. So basically, we see that a lot of customers are talking about like collection agencies, reminder fees, and so on. But I think it's also important to recognize, like, okay, a collection agency or the collection company may also cost a lot of money as well. So basically, this is how we look at the best practice. I think you all know what the dunning process is, so I won't go in super much in detail on that. More or less how we see it as a best practice. So basically, first of all, what Maria talked a little bit about as well with the self-service and provisioning, that not only enables you to like share information with your customer, basically like here is your invoice, download it, pay it, and so on, but it also gives you the powerness of actually informing your customers when they're logged into your platform. Do they have outstanding invoices? Maybe you want to inform them within your platform that you have outstanding invoices. So that is one thing that you can do with provisioning. We will talk a little bit more about that as well. The other way is, of course, reminders. And reminders, when we talk about reminders, we mean like the classic invoice reminders that you have done for ages. And then a little bit falling back on like provisioning and self-service as well. And that is what maybe we can just call it block. That is actually cutting access to your service until an invoice is fully paid. And it doesn't have to be to the whole service. It can also be to like related features within your service that you can log in and you can do stuff, but you may like cut access to core functionalities. For example, say in Younium, we cut access to post invoices, but you can do everything else. And we see, I talk to a lot of customers regarding this, and have some great examples from customers who have implemented this with great success, and also seen like this is like visualizing this in our service to our end customer is the most efficient way of collecting payments in time. So I will just show you an example how it can look like when you do like in your app service. So basically here is you'll also get to see maybe a little bit of the new Younium interface in the background, soon being released here. But this is basically how it can be. You can of course design this any way you want, but for example, if a customer logs in, they have unpaid invoices. You can visualize this for all the users that you have that your customer has, so they can see it. And from here, they can maybe also then access what Maria talked a little bit about, like with a self-service widget there as well, so they can manage their invoices. And if you subscribe, they can actually pay them straight away as well, or download them and pay them via bank transfer as well. And then, of course, you can automatically turn off these reminders if the customer doesn't have, if the customer pays the invoice in time, and so on. So this is something that I really want to like highlight as a super good, efficient way of collecting debt from your customers. Doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to really do anything. It's fully automatically. And so basically, and looking at the times are now, like cash flow is super important and so on. Maybe it's always important, but maybe even now on a higher level, I can talk cash flow. So I think if you haven't thought about this, I think we'll have to talk about it. So give us a call regarding this, because this is a super good way of collecting it. But then, of course, we have the basic reminders as well, as I think all our customers use. Yeah. And one thing I want to highlight regarding this as well, because some like questions or like comments that we see that we get, like, but if we block access to our service, there's a higher risk of churn. And of course, it could be that, but from our experience, it's not related to churn. If your platform is like a key service in their tech stack that they use every day, that they need to use to be able to do their work, they will not churn. They will probably pay you as soon as possible, because otherwise they can't work. So you shouldn't be afraid of doing this. At least the reminding, that is totally safe in that sense, I would say. But then, of course, blocking access, we don't see it as a high risk of churn from the experience that we have. So you shouldn't be afraid of doing it, or at least threaten the customer with that you will block access if they don't pay in time. So okay, a little bit about this. We can talk private about this and so on, but we'll jump to like talk a little bit about the like basic invoice reminders that I think all systems supports and so on, that you probably all use today in different ways. In Younium, you can set up to 5 automatic reminders based on different date sets. So basically, like reminder 1 goes out then, reminder 2 then, and this is fully automatically done by email. One thing that I would like to talk about here is what is really good with this, without being it like it goes automatically, is also that on those 5 stages you can set different type of email text, so you can like be different kind of hard in your communication with your customer, but you can also use our templates that we have in Younium, and those are quite powerful because from a template, when we talk a template, that is what generates up the PDF that the customer is actually seeing, right? The invoice reminder. On that, you can extract that data from the orders, from the invoice, from the account. So you can actually like show different kind of data points on the reminders as well. If you would like to, like, if you don't pay before X number of days, we will cut access to 85 users, for example, picking the quantity of the subscription product or something like that. But I would say the most important thing when talking about reminders is remind the correct person. It goes a little bit back to what we talked about, the like provisioning and showing it in the platform. You may send your invoice to like finance@younium.com. But we see that if you remind the same, if you send one invoice there, they don't pay, and you keep sending the reminders to the same email address. It can be that you have the wrong email address. It can be also that the finance department is full stacked with work. I guess you all can recognize that from somewhere. So in Younium, we support that you can actually send your reminders to a different email address than your actual invoices. And that is, I don't think all customers are actually doing it, and I think it's super important, because then you remind maybe the super user of your service that they have unpaid invoices, and they will then hopefully go to the finance department and push your case higher in the to-do list, so you will get paid faster. So basically, that is, I would say, if you want to take something with you regarding reminders, it's that try to remind the user of your service, rather than the invoice email, that the address that you're delivering the invoice to. And when we're talking reminders, now we're talking about external reminders to end customers, but you can also use reminders within your company as well. So Maria will talk a little bit about this.
So yeah, like sending reminders is very like a reactive process, but if we focus on the proactive stages that we want to highlight, of course, is not one of the one of them is like the combination would be like the ultimate goal, but is to also use the reminder functionality in Younium. In this picture, this is from like a test environment, but this sends out an email to my email address with the subject and this text 4 days before the due date, if the invoice is still status posted, and my name is as the reference to this customer. So this enables me to take action or make sure that the customer maybe is up and running, or if I need to do some steps to get the invoice to be paid in time. Maybe I need to escalate it, maybe I need to change like the address, maybe make sure the customer received the invoice. If the cash flow is very important, and then you could work very proactive with these kind of triggers. Also want to highlight that this is not like, this is an example, but this tool is very flexible. You can base these on very many different fields, and you can set up different reminders to different sales rep or financial people, or like controllers, or whoever you need to send the invoice information to. So like, go in and try this out. Is up and running in all your environments. It's on the notifications reminders in the settings.
And I think this is also a quite good tool to use if we talk a little bit about what we talked in the dunning process as well. If you're going to block access to your service, you may want to inform like the customer success manager or sales rep or whatever, that this customer has unpaid invoices. So in X number of days, we will block access to the service, so they can be proactive and also work with the customer and talk to them before they lose access and so on. So as Maria mentioned, it's a powerful tool to like notify within the company different events that may take place based on date fields in Younium, basically.
Yeah. So this is the last part of talking about the AR in Younium, our best practices. Hopefully you want to learn more and hear more about it, and then please reach out to us. But the next step here is actually looking a little bit ahead. What is the next steps for accounts receivable in Younium, and what do we have to look forward to?
Yes. You all look forward to accounts receivable functionality, right? No, but
love it.
We have talked with a lot of you probably in this meeting, and a lot of our customers regarding our accounts receivable process and how it works, and where do we spend a lot of time, and where can we see that we can be more efficient using Younium and so on. We have talked a little bit about it in some ways earlier in this meeting as well, but now let's look at our roadmap that we planned, that the development work that we're planning or doing right now regarding accounts receivable as well. So we have divided it up into 3 phases that we're working on right now. One is the import, and with import we talk about how, as Maria mentioned, how do we collect the payments into Younium. We have had open banking support and Stripe and credit card support for a pretty long time, but one major feature that is released right now is the proper bank integration for our Scandinavian customers. It's maybe not be the use case in other countries, but in Scandinavia, at least in Sweden and Norway, we have this gyro payments, where meaning that they go through a central, all the payments. So collecting those has been a hassle to the open banking, but now we fully support a fully integrated bank integration to all major Nordic banks, which I think will be super valuable for all our Nordic customers. Then we have what we call match. And match is basically when we have fetched those payments into Younium, we need to match them to an open invoice or to already paid invoice if the customer will do a double payment and so on. So we're working on how can we improve this matching in the best way. One way that we are doing right now is that you can set up a tolerance level, meaning that you will probably set like, okay, say €2 plus or minus, meaning that Younium will book those €2 if that is different as a rounding and match the remaining amount and fully pay that invoice basically. But also reducing the number of steps, so like, and also improving what we look at when we match invoices. How can we make this better, so we make sure that we do this as good as possible. And the other step is then when the matching, first you import, then you match, and then you settle the invoices. Here we are reworking the whole like view that you will be working in, and trying to reduce the number of steps that you need to take to settle invoices. And we want to keep you in one view as well. We don't want to like, you need to go there to do this and there to do this. We will try to keep this in one view so you can do everything in one go. And one major thing that I think will be a huge improvement is that today you need to like handle you need to match and settle all the payments that are in, or delete them before you can like book that payment. Here we are transferring the way to like, okay, the ones that are matched and fine, those will be settled straight away. So you will only focus on the ones that are like incorrect, and what meaning that like it's a serious overpayment or a big underpayment. So you need to take action on it. And we're also one thing that we know is a problem in many systems is that you may invoice in many different currencies, and you only have one bank account. Some of you have like a currency account in your bank, so you will get euro payments in one and dollars in one and SEK in one. But if you only have one, the bank will convert all the payments into your base currency, and then it won't match because the invoice maybe is sent in euro and your base currency is Danish kroners, so then it won't match. Here we're actually developing now, so because in Younium we know both the invoice currency and the base currency. So how can we match it on a base currency level? So for you guys who are not running currency accounts, this will, I think, solve a lot manual handling that you probably do today to make this happen. And some of these are already released, some of it is being released now in February, and some is being released in March, and we will continue working on this like throughout the first half year here as well to make this as a good as process as possible. And when these are released, you probably, if you haven't seen it, you can see that this is from Younium. You see the little picture down there. That's the new widget that we have released, where we will push all our product updates. So you can see that little 1 or 2 or 3, depending on how many unread messages. So you can look there when the stuff is released. You will probably also get more, and this is quite big releases as well, so you'll be notified in other ways probably as well. But you can also access the help center if you have any questions and so on, and you want to ask how to do stuff in Younium. You can find it out there as well in that little widget in the down right corner down in Younium. Yeah, so that's a little bit what we are doing and what we are planning to do and what we're developing right now.
A lot of automation.
Yes, that is the focus, I think, regarding this.
Yeah. And also what we want you guys to focus on a lot of the things we hear that you already thinking about and want to see from our experience. But we want to wrap it up here. We want to say thank you for joining, and please contact your customer success manager if you want to know more. If you don't know who your customer success manager is, this is our support email at the bottom. If you have questions, ask them in the chat below. Linda will take all the questions, answer them, and they will be sent up with this presentation, their recording, and answers to your questions afterwards from our awesome marketing team. But thank you for joining, and hope this was you liked it and it was helpful.
An eye-opener.
An eye-opener. Happy Valentine's Day, guys.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.